Good morning. Today we're speaking to Professor Tissa Wejeratne. It's an honor to be with you today, Professor.
It's a pleasure to be here, Sonali. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. So we're talking about brain health. What is brain health?
Sonali, that's a great question. Before we talk about brain health, let us concentrate a bit more about brain itself. Brain is the most amazing organ in our body. The difference between us and a little mouse or any other little animal basically lie in this amazing organ called brain. If I were to take this even deeper, if you take an individual brain cell of a very primitive mouse or a dead human being, individual neurons probably you wouldn't see much difference between them unless you are a molecular biologist, of course. But our ability as a species to connect with each neurons, establish new connections and adapt to various challenges that we face is what made us a unique species among this entire animal world. So what I'm trying to get at is we are absolutely nothing without our brains. To make more sense, brain is the central processing unit of us as a functioning biological unit. Let me put a little bit more information to this. Inside your brain and inside my brain, inside our viewers' brains, generally we have about 100 billion biological electrical wires packed together. There are at least 10 trillion connections between these biological wires, basically letting us think, letting us plan, letting us fall in love, sing songs, travel, to become jealous, or even to get angry. All these human behavior are driven through these biological and chemical activities, electrical and chemical activities. I said to you that there are about 100 billion biological wires clumped together inside our skull or in this brain. If I were to lay down each one of these wires one after the other, I will have to travel around planet Earth at least 4-5 times to lay down all these biological electrical wires. To summarize, human brain is the most amazing, unbelievable biological computer ever to exist in the world, and I doubt there will ever be a man-made or woman-made computer that could beat that.
Very interesting, Professor. So why do you say brain health is in danger or in peril?
That's also a great question again, Sonari. At this point of time, you and me both know that there are 7 billion people living in this world, and we are still in the middle of this COVID-19 pandemic that has put challenges to us from all corners of the world. Even before the pandemic, 1 in 3 of us were having a brain disorder, which we studied and published and shared with rest of the other members of the world since 2017 onwards. So this include about 1 billion migraine patients, about 2 billion tension type headache patients, about 112 million stroke victims or stroke affected patients, about 3 million multiple sclerosis patients, about 50 million dementia patients, about 50 million epilepsy patients, about 12 million Parkinson's disease patients, and another close to 400 variety of brain disorders. These are all physical aspects of brain disorders that I mentioned. You already know the number of people with anxiety, depression, suicidal ideas, other mental health disorders, which are also originating from the brain. They don't originate from your foot, they originate from the brain. So as you can see, at this point of time, we can confidently say that 1 in 3 of us are having a brain disorder. If out of 7 billion people, 1 in 3 of us are having a brain disorder even before the pandemic was causing these problems, it is fair to say that brain health is at a crossroad or brain health is in peril. The disappointing part about this is I normally see close to 1,000 stroke patients per year as I run one of the busiest stroke services in Victoria, Australia. At least 90% of those patients would have never came to see us at all, because we know that with healthy lifestyle, meticulous control of blood pressure, meticulous control of blood sugar, meticulous control of bad fat, eating healthy, being the nicest human beings that we can be so that we minimize stress to a very lower level, and sleeping well, that means not sleeping too much and not sleeping too little, and not smoking and not drinking too much alcohol, not eating too much red meat, and having a balanced diet and having a healthy lifestyle, and drinking clean water and breathing clean air. All these things should prevent nearly 90% of the strokes.
Wow.
And also, our colleagues from Canada, one of my friend and colleague, Professor Vladimir Hachinsky and group, they show us something interesting during last 5 years. They showed us that when you prevent strokes, which I told you that 90% of the strokes should be prevented, but we are not good at that, we actually prevent about 40% of dementias also. So in other words, if you maintain a healthy lifestyle, you not only prevent stroke, 90% of them, you prevent your chance of becoming demented 40% of the time. And also, we now know that among those 50 million epilepsy patients in the world, at least 30% could have been prevented by various means. And I told you the 1 billion plus migraine and 2 billion plus tension type headache disorders. Now, some of these disorders that we cannot prevent completely because their genetic predisposition and the environmental exposure and various trigger factors produce them to be in this situation. We have excellent preventative measures, lifestyle measures, dietary measures, sleep activities, fluid management, etc., etc. And things such as multiple sclerosis or Parkinson's disease, we have high quality treatment. We do have problems also. Say for an example, diseases like multiple sclerosis in the developed world, we can almost put a stop to the disease because science is so advanced that we can suppress the underlying disease activity almost close to zero level in relapsing form of the disease. But they are costly. So 70% of the world cannot afford those medications.
Right.
Again, disorders such as migraine. During last 5 years, we have seen development of 8 new drugs or 8 new therapeutic prescription medications. But majority of the world can't afford them because medications are expensive. So we have problems despite we have advanced the science in certain aspect. So in one hand, 1 in 3 of us are having a brain disorder. On another hand, majority of the brain disorders can be prevented, but we are not doing that, or we are not successful at doing that. On other hand, the science is so advanced that some of the most disabling neurological disorders that we absolutely have no treatment when I was a medical student, now we have really effective treatment to the extent that we could put a full stop to the underlying disease activity, but the therapeutic interventions are expensive and majority of the world can't afford them. So whatever the corner that you look at it, I think it is fair to say that brain health is at a crossroad and we need to advocate on all those fronts, from raising awareness, from access to high quality specialists and primary care doctors and other healthcare workers so that patients can get what they need, and then making sure that essential medicine and essential treatment options are available for all human beings irrespective of where they live or the economical situation that they are in.
Thank you very much for sharing all that information with us, Professor. It's good to know that the majority of brain disorders can be prevented, that brain health, although it is at peril, has some hope that there are measures that can be taken to improve overall brain health from prevention to even cure. We definitely look forward to hearing more about this in future.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, Professor.
It's a pleasure.